All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hello and welcome. It is time for round 9 of the ISRL Division 1 Championship, and we have a great one here in store for you. It's the inaugural race here at Portimao for ISRL. It's the Portuguese Grand Prix as we are just set to start our short qualifying session. My name is Fallen Monkeys, or Eric, in the commentator's booth once again to take you through the action, joined as always by Jamie. And Jamie, how you doing today?
Good afternoon, Eric. I'm feeling very great, thank you very much. And good evening, everyone in the UK and all around the world. Hope you're doing well. I seen the Australian Grand Prix about 14 hours ago right now, but it's nice to be here in Portimao, the European circuit, which was first held back in 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. And yes, what a splendid track this is, full of elevation changes, flat flowing corners, and undulation here is incredible as well. So it's very nice to see back on this track in Portugal. It's 4.6 kilometers long, not a very long circuit indeed. About, you should see a time, if it's a very good time, about 15, high 15 or low 16s or just on the bang on the 16s. So we'll see what the drivers could do around here. But yeah, the first man out on the track is the Ferrari of XL Lockheed, who's on the mediums. So the strategy is soft to medium or medium to soft. I don't think the hard compound tyres will be used unless there's an early accident of tyres. People go to the hardest tyre, the most durable tyre.
Yep, but I think we've actually got Nathan, who's out on track a little bit before in that AlphaTauri. Does blend into the track map a little bit there, just near the end of Sector 2. I've been hearing a little bit of predictions that Nathan is very strong here around Portimao. So going out early, getting that, he's going to get that lap in hopefully clean air. And we'll see what the benchmark is going to be, and we'll see if all that talk carries any muscle here as he's going to look to set his first lap. And now as he's coming around the that sweeping final corner, did you want to take us through a lap, Jamie?
Sure, as we head onto the DRS then, DRS will be enabled, and here we go then for Nathan. Downhill section then, you can see the track just going downhill. As we head into turn number 1 then, flick it in just before the 50-meter board, hit that inside curb, don't go out too much, we did do turn 2 flat tire, turn 3 brake in a straight line, bring it down to second gear, hit that inside curb there. Use the throttle to rotate the car, uphill section, so it's very easy to lose the rear of the car. Nathan, fantastic through there, did not look like he was going to lose the rear. Headed into turn 4, downhill braking, very easy to lock the left foot. You see a lot of people lock that, but look at that, smooth into turn 4, leads to the curb, uses all of the track back to the left hand side now as we head into turn number 6 there. Lift off through there and braking through here. Another uphill section is very easy to lose the car. Gets back at the throttle, very nice and smooth. This just looks beautiful from Nathan's point of view. No mistakes, even though it is his first lap. Here we come into Portimao then, bring it out wide to bring it back in. Good exit through there. Flat out through this left-hander, 51.3 in the middle centre, and bring it into this left-hand. It can be a tricky corner sometimes, but the rear just sticks with it, and this is where the tyres will heat up the most. We'll feel it as well as the tyres get hot, but look at that, no oversteer, as a lot of people do oversteer through there, lose the car slightly, but coming into this downhill right hand at the final corner, and he runs out of ERS as well, he should do. In fact, he managed to keep it all throughout the whole lap, and it's a 60.0. Wow, what a lap time to be setting at the start of qualifying. Can anybody match that? As we've got a Red Bull across the line next, who's about to start a flying lap. Expect many invalidations around here. I think XL Larkin is the next man to cross the line then in that on those mediums. So I don't expect him to go quickest. It's going to be a 17.0 as he did run out of ERS towards the line. Expect that as well as Dan Neisink, I think, has crashed coming out of the turn number 12. Wonder what happened there. They must have got out wide, hit the gravel, and lost the car. And sadly for him, he has already retired in this qualifying session and will start in last place.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for Dan, as that's an early retirement, no time on the board for him. So going to be starting all the way down the field there. I think, like you said, was running a flying lap, just lost the car a little bit, and from there, game over into the wall, unfortunately for him. But going back to that lap that Nathan set, 16 flat, you can see a couple other drivers that are starting to get a little bit close. You have the likes of Wouter, Ferg with their 16.2, Rocco with a 16.7 on the softs, but still 0.2 of a second quicker than the second best time so far, with just about everyone having set their first lap. just about, other than Cox, who has an invalidation. A very, very strong lap from Nathan, and definitely putting his money where his mouth is in terms of the pace that he was saying he had on his track. What I was hearing about his pace as well, and I mean, that's a prime example for Nathan there, sitting in P1 after that first string of laps, and not just that, setting a lap time that honestly I thought we'd be seeing a little later in the session, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, you usually see people that sit about 60.2, 60.3 is the first one, as you can see there, second, third, and fourth. But of that, second, third, and fourth is in the 60.2s, so very close between those guys. But I've got information on Dan Neising. He's just messaged me, and he said Isa Kush got in my way, just for your information. So he must have, like, I don't know, must have took a void and actually slammed on the brakes, the rears locked up and hit the wall. So sadly for Dan Neising, Isa Kush compromised him there, and if he is going to report it, Isa Kush might take some pain, as Dan Neising was on a flying lap and Isa Kush was just there. But Isa Kush then done 2 laps on the set of softs, and it's a 60.3 for him in P5. Was quite unlucky in Saudi Arabia last time. Down, I think he finished in P9. He was, I think it was P9. He was on the medium compound tyres, whereas everybody was on the soft compound tyres. Nathan was one of those medium runners as well. And yeah, who won it last time? It was Saudi Arabia. It was Giroud Visser. Yeah, many people had problems with Giroud.
Yeah, I think it was Jerome Visser on track at least, but given a post-race penalty he got for, if you remember that aggressive move that saw QBR Campbell into the wall, he got penalized for that by the stewards. So the official win actually went to Justice there after that drive. Doesn't look like Justice is here though, or I'm not seeing his name. So I think off this week he is a reserve. Now that I think Nolan is back in that seat in the McLaren.
Yeah, Justice. I think he was one of those medium runners. It was Isa Kush and Justice on the medium compound tyres, and Justice defended beautifully against those soft compound and finished in P1. He finished P1 in the sprint race in Jeddah and managed to do it again on the post race in P2. So that was a really good pace from Justice. And yeah, 10 minutes left to go. Many people in the pit lane. We've got Ben JS out there on a outlap. I've seen many validations from everybody. Quite a few people struggling, including XL locking in P10. And his teammate for sure as well, so they've been struggling as well. Down at Ferrari, Luke in P30, Car Mentalist in P14 there. He's not on a lap time, I don't think. Ben JS is right ahead of him, who's on an outlap on the soft compound tyres. So Ben JS did set his best lap time on the mediums with a 16.8. Not bad lap time on the mediums then, with 16.8. Now he's on the soft compound tyres, so let's see what lap time he can go for on those softs. Coxey's out there. I think Coxey's on a lap, so if you want to go on board with him.
Yep, I just jumped on board with Coxey now as he's heading into that hard braking zone.
Very smooth entry into there, no signs of lock-up. It gets a good exit coming out of turn number 5, now through turn 6, now through turn 7, slight lift off through there, now coming in turn 8, fully lift off and brake, and make sure you don't lose the rear of the car as it's uphill. It's very easy to do so now. Coming downhill into this next section, coming through turn number 8 or turn number 9, now through turn 10 and turn 11. It's called Portimao. Bring the car in, get a good exit, don't invalidate, but he did lose the car just slightly on exit. Now making his way down into turn 13 there. Can be a difficult corner sometimes, depends in the race. If the soft compound tyres, it's very easy to get caught out because it looks like a simple corner, but at the same time you're going in there hot with a lot of speed, and it's the third sector as well, so the tyres can heat up, and sliding it's possible around there as well. But Coxey then making his way towards the line on the medium compound tyres. Let's see what lap time he sets. It's a 16.8. It's his first medium run, so I expect him to go over to the soft compound tyres to see if he can gets himself inside that top 10.
Yeah, well, I think he is going to have to go onto the soft compound. That seems to be the way to go for a lot of drivers here. When I'm looking, and actually goes for a little bit of a spin there. Initially, it looked like he wanted to go for a second lap, which did seem to be what some of the drivers were doing here in qualifying, using those mediums, going for 2 laps. Just that first one is an extra setup lap, and then going to see if they can improve on that secondary lap. I don't think that's going to be the case for Coxey, but now as we're starting to take down a little bit more, 8.5 minutes to go, we're starting to see more soft tires break out here. I think drivers just trying the mediums, seeing where the pace is. Not quite there here as far as qualifying is concerned. So going back to the softs, see if they can just set that quick time. And speaking of quick time, Nathan comes around for his second lap and actually improves by 0.2 of a second, just about, a 15.835. Wouter as well improved just, and I mean just, breaking the sub 116 mark. It's a 115.999 for the McLaren driver. And we've got Rocco as well getting very close, just setting a lap of 16.017. Who else is coming close?
Mark just crossed the line.
Mark, that's who I saw was just crossing the line here. So we're really starting to see the times start to fall a little bit here, nearing those 116 flats. Some breaking that 116 barrier, but still nobody's been able to touch Nathan so far here in this qualifying.
Went on board with Giroud, and he had a snap of oversteer, a massive wheel spin as well at the exit of turn number 5, going for a second lap on those soft compound tyres, so just not in the working range of him, so he had to back out. But Wouter, I was on board with him when he crossed the line, and his teammate gave him a lovely tone. Nolan gave the slipstream towards Wouter, and I dare say he's just got in the 50s thanks to his teammate with that lovely slipstream. And XO Rocco as well. MP3, what a fantastic job. I know both Hassers didn't have the best of races back in Saudi Arabia when Rocco was involved in some midfield action with Nathan JB, and he made contact with his teammate as well when he lost his wing, so both Hassers there in P3 and in P8. It's nice to see them, but Nola's gone back in the pit lane, 16.6. He was going for a flying lap, but decides to opt back in the pit lane. And there's still plenty of time left in this session. Let's see who else is out there. Ferg is out there. He's 700s quicker in the middle sector, so he's on an improvement on a 16.2. Let's see if he can beat it. He's got Alpine ahead of him, but hopefully that Alpine a bit tentative going into turn number 14, but gets back on the throttle then as he makes his way towards that downhill right-hander. And let's see then what lap time Ferg can set. Can he get near mark 16.0? Let's see. And it's going to be a 16.1, so he does improve. In fact, he lost a little bit of time due to that tentative turning there from Ferg, but nevertheless, it's still a good time with a 16.1, and there's more time to be found from him. And Isa Kush there oversteered off the track towards turn number 7 and turn 8. Once 2000's up, and you can see there, sadly for him, he has invalidated his lap time, but 5 minutes left to go in this session. He could possibly go for a second lap as well. I think QVR Campbell is out there going for a flying lap. I think he is. No, he's backed out of it. Car Mentalist, he's backed out of it. He's just got 10th place with a 16.5. As the Williams driver, Ben JS, 1/10 up in that middle sector, so it looks like he's on a good lap as he makes his way towards turn number 10 and turn 11. Let's see how he takes it. Nice on the entry, but too wide on the exit, and he's 4/10 up as well. And that's a lot of pain for Ben JS. Sadly for him, he is invalidated. The most common place to invalidate, so not surprised. The rotation, 3/10 up in the first sector. He needs a good lap time. He's currently in last place, but 7/10 up in that middle sector. He's set a 17.3, and he makes his way down towards turn number 13 now. Good exit there. Now through turn 14. Not really hooking at the apex, going a bit understeer through there as he makes his way towards the final corner. Let's see what that time rotation could set. Use that curb on the exit. Some people have used that curb for the exit, a little bit of extra rotation. As rotation makes its way towards the line, runs out of the EOS. It's P7 for him in the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, very good. A very good lap time from rotation this time around. Puts him up into P7 with the 16.3. Puts him right into the mix with everybody else now. So, very good lap from him indeed. Izad Kush really not having the best of luck here in this qualifying session. He was out tried 2 laps, and both laps ended up getting invalidated for him. So, really not what he was hoping for. For Ben, like you were saying, Jamie, 4/10 up. That one really hurts when you go just a little bit wide on that corner, and the game gets it for that. So very unfortunate for Ben, but with 4 minutes to go, still enough time to get back out there, put on a fresh set, like we're already seeing some drivers do. Or I guess Nolan is the prime example of that. He's at Kush out on an outlap now. Actually, is Nolan on an outlap, or is he on a flying lap right now?
Yeah, 1/10 up in the first sector, so he is on a flying lap, but that's a good sign already, being 1/10 up. It took too much curb there, but gets away with it as he gets on the throttle once again as we make our way towards turn number 7 and turn 8. Lovely corners these are, turn 7 and turn 8. Uphill section for the next one, so you can be careful that the car bit understeering through there. Didn't really get the turn in that Nolan would have wanted to get a really good exit. But let's see then how much time that cost him to make his way towards the Portimao corner. Good exit through there, and is a 51.3, so he's 2 and a bit tenths up, almost 3 tenths. A bit of lag through there, but he still makes it through the corner, I believe. It is lagging just a bit, but he sorts himself out. Now making his way towards turn 14, getting back on the power. His teammate Walter gave his slipstream, but looks like Walter's not anywhere near him to provide him a good one down the straight. As Nolan then will make his way towards the line, and it's going to be a 16.2, which puts him up into P6 in the top 6, along with his teammate Walter in P2. The big guns have came out now. A lot of traffic into turn 1. Be careful. There were 3 cars into turn 1 as Nolan was just making his way through there. We've got a Haas, we've got an Alpine, and a McLaren, Nolan's teammate. So yeah, luckily none of them collided. But yeah, the big guns out there. We've got Nathan out there, Walter, Rocco, Mark, and Ferg. Which one of them do you want to go on board with?
Let's take a look here. I've got Mark here, so we can jump on board with Mark if he was on that list.
Making his way into turn 1. He's got 2 minutes left. Almost went wide through turn 1, but that was fantastic from him. Coming into turn number 3 then, let's see how he hooks it up very nicely. Gets up into 3rd gear immediately, now into 4th. Uphill section, some people take that curve, some people don't. DRS enabled then as we make our way down into an opportunity to overtake down here at turn 5. 2,000ths up in that first sector then. Gets the car rotated, uses all the track, brings it back over to the left hand side to prepare himself through the double right-hander here. Bit of hesitation going to that one. And car mentalist, hopefully he gets out of the way. It's a bit of visual distraction, but nevertheless, he does get out of the way, thankfully, as Mark then makes his way downhill, then uphill again. It's a blind crest through there. You can't even see until you get on top of the hill. But Isa Kush with a 50.8. Mark goes a little bit wide there from the off camber, but 1/10 up from Mark in that middle sector. He can find himself in that 15s along with Walter, Isa Kush, and Nathan, the top 3. Mark riding that curve throughout turn 15 there as the final corner then, as he makes his way towards Gulf, the final corner, takes the tight line, runs all the way to the right hand side, and let's see what time Mark can set. It's going to be a 15.9, and he gets himself ahead of the McLaren of Walter, who I believe, he's actually validated his lap as Walter, but I think there's enough time. So is Nathan as well. Nathan and Walter has invalidated their lap times. Rocco is down in the first sector. Ferg making his way towards the end of the first sector. It is, I didn't see that, but a bit of lock-up going into that hesitation as well. Javuvas making his way towards the final corner, going for his last flying lap, I believe, of the session. 38 seconds left to go, so these times count. I wonder where the big guys are. Nathan makes his way towards the final corner, then he'll get one more lap at it, as I think Walter will. 28 seconds left to go. He's slowing down to let people through, but go on board with Nathan then. Let's see his last final lap. Can he get himself in the 15.7s here? Gets a good turn 1, now coming through turn 2. Turn 3, hitting the braking very spot on there, using a lot of curb on entry, double shifting up into 4th gear, riding that curb through turn 3 there. DRS enabled then as we make our way all the way down into turn number 5, slightly down in that first sector, but Nolan then, he's just crossed the line to go P6. QVR Campbell goes in P4. Qualifying has ended, so crucial times for these drivers. Swings it into the right hander. Ferg pops himself into P3. What a lap time from him with a 50.9. Nathan then had a bit of a problem coming out of the double right hander there. Didn't get the rotation he wanted it and had to overcorrect it as we make our way into Portimao. And Nathan then rides the curve very nicely, gets a good exit, and he's 300s up in that middle sector nearest to the whole decimal point there, but went a little bit wider than he wanted. He would have took a tighter entrance into turn number 13. Now coming through turn 14 here, and let's see if his lap time's good enough. Nobody can challenge it, it looks like. Javuvas has gone P6 with a 50.9, and Nathan then makes his way towards the final corner. Now onto the main straight, and let's see if he can set a decent lap time. It's a 15.7, he's a 10th up. He found all that time in that last sector. What a lap time there from Relentless Nathan. And I think that's it. Exo Rocco, if he's there to challenge, I think he's going for a second lap on his set of softs. Larky's just popped himself inside that top 10, which is waiting for Coxey and Rocco to see what they could do. Rocco just running out of fuel there slightly, but as we're coming into the final corner, using a lot of it as well. Let's see if he can prove from P8. He's going to cross the line now It is a 16.0. He does not improve, slightly down. So I think the last man on the track is Ariel Coxey. And let's see where he is. Oh, he's not on a lap time. So that is it then. Relentless Nathan is on pole as many people expected. Isak Kush there, what a lap time. And Ferg in P3, what a lap from him in the Alpine.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very exciting end to qualifying. As much as Nathan remained untouched at the top, Isak Kush finally getting that lap time, or that clean lap time in, and oh boy, did he come close with that 15.848. A lot more drivers breaking into the sub 116s as we expected. Top 7 all with that sub 116 time, and effectively, I'm looking at the top 9, all separated by less than 0.3 of a second. So from Nathan all the way down to XL Larkin. So it's going to be close here, I think, or a lot closer than we might initially have thought, especially with the different, all the shaking up here at the end of the session. But Nathan and Isak Kush on the front row of the grid, with Ferg and Mark occupying row 2. Campbell and Jerome are going to be on the third row, 5th and 6th. Wouter down in P7 on the 4th row with Rocco, with XL Larkin and Luke rounding out the top 10 there in qualifying. So here we go. The qualifying came to a close. Moving on to the race now, and I think it's going to be a good one. I always say that, but I think it is going to be the case in Portimao. We've already seen some struggles here by some of the drivers with a few corners. I think notably turn 8's always going to be a tricky one, especially when you're under pressure in a race situation, having to time that throttle perfectly going uphill. It is very easy to unsettle the car if you're not careful. I think that's something we might need to keep an eye out. But honestly, I'm excited. Jamie, do you have any thoughts here as we're getting ready for the race? Any predictions? Any insight that you can bring us?
Many of my previous experiences, like, it's very easy. I mean, very hard to save ERS around here. It's so easy, so hard to regenerate that battery. You can be very careful when you're planning your attacks. You can be very strategic as well on when I'm planning it. And Nathan looks like he's running medium low downforce setup. He's able to not run out of ERS as quickly as the other drivers were in qualifiers, so I expect him to do well with ERS saving. But yeah, I preferably want to be second or third to try and save that ERS and use that battery later on in the race. But I expected some great battles, especially to turn 1. And turn 1, you want to be fully ahead. You don't want to be side by side into turn 1 because you're such a tight corner, and all the way down to turn 3 as well. Easy to bump wheels and force each other off the track. So you want to get the move done before turn 1, just like Hannah did the last 2 corners. But if he carries on, you can get a good exit cut out of turn 2 and turn 3 uphill, and make our way down into turn 5, which should. You can still see some more side-by-side action in turn 6 and turn 7. That's how great this track is. And different strategies as well. Notice the soft to medium tyres. You can be really careful where you come out, because if you come out behind an old medium runner, you want to get past them as quickly as you can, but you've got to be very careful to do so as well, because they'll be carrying less speed than you, and it's very easily to hit the back of them. So you want to get past them in the right place at the right time. And yeah, if you can do that, you can put a car in between yourself and your rival, make them get past them, and try and pull away when you have the chance. But yeah, expected a good race. It looks a bit cloudy, so weather might interfere around this track.
Yeah, I was noticing that too with the clouds. Hopefully it stays dry though for the drivers, and for us as well in the booth, so we can get the overtakes. I do have to agree that of course going into turn 1, a major overtaking zone with the length of the start-finish straight. Going into turn 5 as well at the end of sector 1 is going to be a good one as well for overtakes, with that hard, nearly hairpin style corner. So as long as you can find the traction, get the run on the exit turn 4, which is a lot easier said than done, given the way the car goes uphill on a turn. It just really unsettles the car a lot more than what you might think, but we'll see. But of course, if you're stuck behind a driver, like you said, in sector 2, for the most part, you're kind of stuck there up until the end of the lap, start of the next one, unless there is a mistake, because it is fairly difficult to overtake, barring a mistake from another driver. So we'll see how it's all going to play out as the drivers are about to take their positions on the grid for the 5 red lights. Noticing top 10, of course, on the soft tires, but from 11th down to 17th, 17th, all on the mediums, except for Jamie 1, who's looking to go much longer on the hard tires. Not the first time we've seen this strategy. Let's see if it'll work out for him down in 15th, but could be a driver to keep an eye out on later on in the race once the strategies are a little bit more set in stone here. But here we go. Drivers are ready. I'm ready. Hope you're ready too. Just need that cue for the 5 red lights. And here we go. Up to 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And the lights are off, and we are racing here in Portimao, as it looks to be a good start here from Nathan as he approaches turn 1. Mark and Isaac Kush, a little side-by-side battle through the corner. You can see Campbell and Ferg as well as they approach turn 2 and turn 3. But Nathan taking the lead. It looks like Mark does win that battle, go up into second, gaining a position. QVR Campbell and Ferg, though, still battling it out here, as it looks like for now the edge goes to QVR Campbell, and right behind them, Jerome and Rocco side-by-side, as I think that was Jerome initially looking for position on the outside. That's since been single file. He's at in third, Campbell in fourth, and it looks like Ferg for now is in P5 with Jerome, the second Red Bull, right behind there, practically pushing him through the corner here in the first on the first lap. But it looks like that's since created a little bit more separation here. But for now, it looks like Nathan, he's calmly taken control of this race here through the first little bit. Had a great start, and honestly hasn't had anybody truly challenging him here. But we've also got here in the midfield, it looks like Luca Nolan getting involved here. There's Nolan on the inside of the AlphaTauri, just can't quite keep his nose in there to try to force an inside run around the final corner. And as they cross lap 1, a very exciting lap, and you're already seeing Jerome looking to make some moves down the inside. Can he get it going into turn 1? Yes, he does, and that's Jerome up to P5 as he's chasing down most notably QVR Campbell and the rest of the top 4 here.
Yeah, Nolan and Luke exchange position. Luke would definitely like to get past Nolan because he's on the medium compound tyres, of course, and Luke has to pull away from him when he's got the chance. But Nolan looks like he's going to go back down down the inside into turn 5. Out breaks himself, makes contact further behind. Ben JS and Coxie are having a fight, but Luke goes off the track, and that might be a legal overtaking. They still go side by side through turn 7, but gets squeezed off the track there, as you can see, and Luke repasses Nolan for P10, and Luke then 1.1 seconds behind XL Log, and he would like to join that DRS train. But talk about 1.1s, look at Isaac Kush just hovering around 1 second gap between himself and Mark. But what a start for Mark. I was on board with him, got a lovely launch, able to get alongside Isaac Kush from P4 to P2. Isaac Kush went wide into turn 1, it's very hard to go. I think Walter has spun the car. Where is he? He's out of turn number 13, so sadly for him, he rejoined with those soft tyres possibly overheated at this stage. So DRS then is enabled. Expect to see DRS trains as the fastest lap goes towards Mark. So Mark has the initial pace so far, as he's right behind Nathan, but used quite a lot of battery, whereas Nathan's got a sufficient amount to try and pull away with. But yeah, that start for Mark was amazing, got him up to P2. Now he can set about chasing Nathan and try and take the lead, and also save some of that DRS as well, because it's very hard to restore around here. But Ferg dropped 3 places, P3 to P6, silent for him, so it looks like you have to make up some lost ground. But yeah, nevertheless, it's all a good start from everybody, but Walter silent for him. Down in P17, Jamie 1 went down to last because of those hard compound tyres. So even though he was the last one coming up the grid, it's just very hard to heat up that hard compound tyre. They will later turn into a softer tyre towards the end as the grip starts to get better, the tyre starts to wear down as well. So Jamie was going to wait for that phase and try and stick with the hard tyre as much as he can, but he's right behind Dan and then at DRS train as well.
Yeah. So that's the thing with Jamie. He's going to sit behind there for the time being with those hard tires as they take those couple laps just to grip in. But of course, once you start seeing the soft tires start to fall off a little bit there, even the medium tires as well, that's when we can expect Jamie. But we've got a yellow flag here, as that looks to be Carmentalist, who had a little bit of a moment there as he's getting back on track on those medium tires. Maybe a little bit or a decent amount of heat in those tires now after that spin. Down near the front, though, looked like Mark's starting to put some pressure on Nathan. Wanted to go for an overtake, it seemed, into the first corner, but just couldn't quite get it done. We'll see if he can find the run here on the exit of turn 4, going into turn 5. He has DRS, but just can't quite seem to close up enough at the end of that corner to get the overtake done. So it's still going to be Nathan leading, but Mark is definitely keeping him honest there. But of course, Nathan, like you were mentioning, Jamie, so much more battery, or so much more ERS to work with than Mark at this stage of the race. So it seems like for now the advantage is still on the lead driver, who should be able to defend this position, even if there is an overtake with that extra battery stored in the tank. It is something that Mark might need to consider. But I do know, or from what I've noticed here so far in the race, is right off the bat, it looks like Mark does like to use up a lot of battery early on, so that could be just part of his strategy here to keep with the leader, try to get the overtake done, and then just use raw skill to defend wherever possible. But starting lap 5, here we go again. 4/10 behind the leader is the Red Bull. Is he going to get the overtake done here? Nope, not quite. Going into turn 1, he closes up to about 1/10 of a second, but nothing more. And once again, if he wants to get the overtake done, it's going to rely on the exit here of turn 4. A lot easier said than done. About the same distance, I'd say, so a little bit of a half move to the inside, but not much there for the overtake. So it looks like things are going to remain unchanged, at least for the time being here. But you can see Wouter also, after that spin earlier, trying to work his way up the field, trying to play some catch-up here. He's gotten ahead of a couple drivers in 14th. He finds rotation ahead of him, but still under pressure a little bit from Dan, as he's trying to work his way back up the field, catch up to the rest of these soft tire runners.
Yep, you can see Fergus right behind Drew Visit as all of them now in that DRS train. QVR Campbell lurking all over the back of Issa Kush, hoping to get a good result. Of course, QVR Campbell looked like he could have won the race back in Saudi Arabia if he had not made contact with Jeroen, but let's see what he can do here in Portugal. Been quite lucky as QVR Campbell this season. I know it's been a few times he could have got the podium or potentially won the races, but he's in P4. There's a long way to go. Let's see what he can do. As Mark then, he's closing towards Nathan, but presumably will be back out because there's not enough room. Well, there is, but you don't want to set it down the inside. As a first penalty goes towards Relentless commentalist down there in P17, currently in last, standing for him after that spin. He did full spin the car, so I'm not quite sure if he made contact with somebody, he just spun on his own. But yeah, a lot of work to do from there. Same as Walter, who's right behind rotation, but like rotation, he's in the DRS trade, and I don't know if he's close enough to make a move down the inside of him if he gets a good exit, but no, he's too far back sadly. But one thing I did notice that Nolan started on the mediums inside the top 10, so he has still got good pace, and he's currently in P10 on the mediums, just dropping outside the DRS range of Luke. But yeah, if he can stay in there, the top 9 will probably go in the pit lane, and on lap 10 or 11, then he will lead the Grand Prix, try and take it from there and go on the soft compound tyres towards the end. So yeah, good qualifying from Nolan inside the top 10. Only lost one place at the start by Luke, who got ahead in P9, and yeah, make good work there. But it's just a massive DRS train at the moment. Just wait to see some moves. Jeroen right behind QVR Campbell, hit the back of him, just tapped him slightly as these two make contact back in Saudi Arabia. But it looks like Jeroen is right behind QVR Campbell. Campbell will use that battery store, but he's very low on it, of course, so Jeroen will take advantage of that with the DRS wide open. They go side by side. QVR Campbell is using the battery. I thought he saved some of it for the next attack. As they make our way down into turn 1 there, Jeroen has the inside line, and he makes his way cleanly past QVR Campbell, but QVR Campbell, the lower battery, will have to try and save that up and ready for the next attack if he can, as they make their way into turn 4, now turn 5. Oh, Isaac Kush has almost lost it, and he saves the car. Massive oversteer at the top of the hill towards turn 4, and it's lost 2 places. Sadly for him, might lose 3 if goes around the outside, can get a better exit. He does get a better exit, and he gets past him, so good move there from Relentless Ferg to get himself up past Isa Kush. And sadly for him, he's lost 3 places due to that one mistake. So yeah, Isa Kush there looks like he's struggling at this stage of this race, probably due to overheated tyres, because the rear end does look a bit unstable, but let's see if he can try and manage it towards the end.
Yep. Well,
I think he's lost it again.
It looks like
he's lost it again.
Oh no, I think really struggling here on this lap from Izad in the Mercedes, as that's not one but 2 mistakes, and now being pressured, stuck in a battle with Luke, and just having to concede that position just to not I guess just having to concede that position as he's down in ninth now. And let's see, is he going to take a bit of an early pit stop? No, he's going to stay out on those soft tires that have really seen a decent amount of heat here. Meanwhile, Ferg and Campbell exchanging positions as Ferg goes up into P4, Campbell down into 5th. I think Izat tried to overtake Luke into turn 1, but Luke was having none of it, defending that position as he remains in 8th. Izat remains in 9th. And I did see a little bit of a switch position. I think that was maybe Coxey and Ben having a little bit of a battle of their own here, as it looks like that initial train we were seeing is starting to break off into 2 trains now. You got the lead train going down to Nolan, who's sticking on here, as he's going to try actually to go for a move on. He's at Cush himself. Can he keep it down the inside? Yes, he does. It's going to turn into the outside, but it looks like that doesn't matter for Nolan, as he cleanly gets the overtake done to go up into 9th. So Isaac Cush just falling down positions here. At this stage of the race, he might just want to consider getting off of those soft tires or doing something to refine that pace he was having previously, because at this point in the race, he's struggling a little bit here.
He is going to the pits.
Yeah, so we'll see. Might need to. It looks like Wouter's going to follow suit. They might slap on a set of mediums and try to extend that a little bit longer here. It is going to be a bit of an ask to take them 21 laps, I think, but it is definitely possible. That I can say here. Oh wait, I need maybe a little bit more because my math isn't quite working out. But either way, it is possible to take those mediums to the end of the race, but it's going to involve a little bit of tire management there. As looked like QVR Campbell also looked to get a little squirrely on the curbs there, but recovered that fairly easily with no worries on his end, as he remains in 5th place. But looks like near the front, we're starting to see a couple gaps, all within 1 second. But Nathan just hanging on to that P1. 0.7 of a second now is the lead on Mark. But crucially for Mark, he's got his teammate behind him with Jerome. So unless we see a bit of a Red Bull civil war, Mark can focus on the driver ahead. Meanwhile, Jerome can focus on defending from the drivers behind if and when these attacks tend to come.
The EOS management from Nathan has been fantastic on the whole race, because even though he's out front, he can't save the EOS. Mark's just been struggling to save it, as he's currently always low on the EOS. But Dan Neising then has got a pass rotation for P12, and that undercut from Isa Kush expected to be very quick. And I think him being in the DRS train here, Isa Kush, once these guys pit, expect him to rejoin ahead of him due to a few laps experience of medium tyres. While these guys are stuck in the DRS train and beat each other's dirty air, can't go to the full pace as they possibly want to. Isa Kush has got all the free air, and he needs to capitalise on that benefit once these guys do head to the pit lane. And Red Bull then will have to make the decision, if there are the parties together, they should be. It's relentless 1, 2, 3 and 4, but if they are the party, who will pit first? Will it be Mark or will it be Drew? Will they pit Mark first to do the undercut on Nathan and make Javoon go longer, then make him do a pit stop? But we'll see then how this all plays out. It's a Honda 1, 2, 3 in the 2021 game, as obviously they don't run Honda in the next one. They do powertrains, but helped by Honda as well. But as we come on to turn 14 then, out of turn 15, I think we should see some pit stops very, very soon, about lap 11 or lap 12. We'll see if anybody commits to the pit lane, which none of them do except Javoon. Oh, I thought he was then. Yeah, confused me, but yeah, just doing a bit of a dummy, and Ferg right behind him just breaking the toe as well. Nolan tries to get himself back in that DRS range, but yeah, I expect Isa Kush flying on those medium compound tyres to be coming out. I don't think none of these guys know that Isa Kush probably puts it. They've probably seen him drop down the order, but yeah, I think they're going as long as they can to reduce that medium stint, and once his tyres start to fall off. I see Nathan weaving a bit on the straight, not quite what sure that is, but Mark's getting very close to him in the braking zone, but too far back as well. So has set the fastest lap, so they've seen that, setting the fastest lap. They might want to consider pitting as well, because these guys will probably get ahead of him. It depends on the conditions of these softs, and they're still good enough to try and reduce that gap towards the medium compound tyres, but they're all stuck in the train, so it's quite hard to do so when you're in that DRS dirty air. But We'll see if any pit stops start happening soon, and QVR Campbell, sadly for him, picked up a 3-second time penalty. The exit of turn 1, I was on board with him when he did that. Just went a little bit too wide when he was stuck behind Ferg, and Ferg did it as well. He went wide when he overtook QVR Campbell, so he's also got a warning to his name, and it's very easy to do it. In turn 1, down at turn 4 as well, turn 5 can be another one, turn 6, but here we go then. Anybody commit to the pit lane? Yes, Ferg is then, and the Haas of XL Rocco, and the Ferrari as well. It's XL Larkin are in the pit lane, so let's see how their pace is as they're able to restore that battery in the pit lane. Oh, Marcus spun! Oh, he spun into turn 1, and Giroud Visser has to take evasive action, and he picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. That was quite unfair, as he had to take avoided action there. But sadly for Mark, I'm not quite sure if he hit the inside curb or just lost the car because of the lack of grip, but sadly for him, all that hard work in the first stint, he has to pit this lap for sure.
Yeah, definitely going to have to be pitting this lap, and really, really unfortunate for Mark there, considering we just saw Nathan dive into the pit. So I think Mark, he finally had that clean air, finally had that ability to try to build a gap himself, but goes for a little bit of a spin in turn 1. I didn't quite get the best angle to see what had actually happened, if he just kind of clipped the curb a little bit awkwardly, if it was the tires, but nonetheless, down in 8th now, definitely going to have to take a pit stop here at the end of this lap, I would think. Maybe a little earlier than expected, as that's Carmentalist, who's off track now, needing to get back on as he's falling down the order as well. So a little unfortunate for Carmentalist as well. But it looks like now Jerome is going to dive into the pits. QVR Campbell is staying out, but other than that, unless Mark is going to dive into the pits. So the Red Bulls will be double stacking. We'll see if they can pull that off in time, or if Mark is going to be delayed just a little bit more. I think they might have just gotten it off in time, but maybe a slight delay there. But it looks like all the soft runners, other than QVR Campbell, they've taken their first pit stop to put on the set of medium tires. We'll see if they plan on taking any more. Meanwhile, you can see Ferg getting ahead of Jerome here on the essentially on the exit of the pits, it looks like. So he's up in 9th. So very crucial there for Jerome now that there's that drive, or very crucial for Nathan, I should say, that there's that driver between himself and the Red Bull of Ferg. But Nathan now, it's a 2-second gap just about between himself and Ferg. So we'll see how that's going to play out once if and when he does catch up to that other group of cars who are staying out. But of course, top 7 do still need to take a pit stop as well, so they will be falling down the order possibly once they do decide to take their pit stops a little later on here in the race.
Yeah, that was very close to the exit at turn 1 between Ferg and Giroud Visser. Giroud Visser came out of the pits, went offline, and Ferg managed to make his way through with a switch back into turn 1 now. Like you said, Nathan's got a car in between himself and Giroud, but he's 2 seconds away anyway, so Giroud will have to pull some mad pace if he wants to get close towards Nathan, as Nathan just sets the fastest lap of this race. But Giroud Visser then is about to make his way past Ferg immediately before turn 1, and let's see then, has he got the pace to try and close in towards Nathan? It's a shame for Red Bull. I think they should have pitted 1 lap earlier, or pitted on the same lap as Nathan, because they've lost a lot of time towards him, and they could have used each other to try and slow him down. But yeah, sadly for Mark, like you said, when Nathan pitted, Mark just probably pushed a bit too much on those soft compound tyres, light the rear tyres up, and lost the car. I was aboard with Giroud when it happened, and just lost. I don't think he hit the inside curve as much. It's just the car just lost itself, carried too much speed, and therefore sent him to a spin. The car couldn't handle it, and Giroud, like I said, took evasive action and picked up a 3-second time penalty. He had to go off the track, otherwise he made contact with his Red Bull teammates. So it hampered both Red Bulls there in terms of time and penalties. But let's see what Giroud Visser could do. It was 2 seconds the gap. The gap is 1.5, so Giroud Visser is closing the gap. He's just got purple in that middle sector as well, as QVR Campbell then has pitted. But QVR Campbell staying out there, has it happened a little bit? We'll see where he rejoins, because I think he was about 4th or 5th in that queue. But will he rejoin further down, being on the medium soft a little bit too long? We'll see, as QVR Campbell then goes onto the medium compound tyres now out of the pit stop. They're all making their way on the straight with Nathan there as rotation picks up a 3-second time penalty. QVR Campbell then will come out the pit lane, very slow pit lane indeed, as Nathan's Giroud's fully ran out of ERS. QVR Campbell comes out. Is that XL Larkin? Yes, it is. And he's lost positions towards XL Larkin. Rocco and Larkin were behind QVR Campbell before the pit stops. Now they're ahead, thanks to that undercut. So QVR Campbell then has to make a lot of work, try and regain that last ground, and try and make those positions up on Larkin and Rocco and Ferg ahead. But it looks like his advantage Nathan so far in P7. The nearest driver to him is JB1. 7.7 is on the hard compound tyres course. JB1 going for that very long stint on those hard. Might as well take them towards the end because they're that durable. Like Alex Albon back, well, a few hours ago in Australia.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, just ride those hard tires as long as you can. Maybe you'll get lucky and we'll get a maybe he'll get lucky and get a safety car that'll allow him to take that quicker pit stop. Interestingly, Nolan just jumped into the pits now, getting off the mediums. I think it might be a little early for him to do that at this stage of the race. But Nolan might be committing to a two-stop, putting on 2 sets of soft tires to go from now until the end of the race. But was it 17 laps on a single set of softs? That's a lot to ask for here from any driver, I would think, around this track. Normally they'll last about, like we saw, 12 to 13 laps before they really start to fall off. But we'll see how Nolan plans or works with that, I guess.
I thought he would have went longer. He was in clear air, wasn't under pressure from BenJS or Coxie, had all the clean air he wanted. But yeah, that was a very early pit stop on those medium compound tyres. Let's see how he handles it, because you saw there the peak performance, probably about 11 or 12 laps, and you've got to just hold on in there to the end. But the fuel load does go down, the track starts to evolve, temperature will be lowering as well, so that factor could play into hand there for Nolan. But yeah, very optimistic, decides to get off the medium compound tyres and takes the soft towards the end. First target for him is his teammate as Isaac Kush picks up a 3-second time penalty in P12. Is fighting Luke and QVR Campbell as Nolan just edged towards Walter, gets close to him. I wonder if those two are going to let each other go, because there's no point in fighting on different strategies and wasting the life out of those soft compound tyres for Nolan. Coxie and BenJS then in P1 and P2. The last of the 4 medium runners, Dan Nijink, FOL rotation, Coxie and BenJS. And looks like Coxie and BenJS are fighting for P1 and P2. Ferg is right behind Exo Rocco for P8, bringing along a whole train of cars with him. Larkin, as Ferg gets very close towards Rocco. Can he get a good exit coming out of turn number 4? Try and set himself up into turn 5. DRS enabled, then he hasn't got much battery power in that Williams, but yeah, he's way too far back to make any sort of move down the inside, so he has to wait for even longer to get past him. But yeah, like I said, ERS management around here is very, very harsh indeed. It's just so hard to struggle, so hard to save up the ERS. Like you saw in qualifying, many people just ran out of ERS for the line, whereas Nathan was able to save it up. It just depends on setup as well. If you're running a high downforce, high setup or low downforce setup, you can all play to that as well, trying to get the perfect setup for the ERS. But yeah, it's just so hard when you're on your own, especially. It's no way of saving it. Even if you lift off, I've experienced it myself plenty of times. As Giroud Visser has got himself in that DRS range, he's right behind Nathan as well. So let's see if he can start piling the pressure on Nathan in P6 there. He's too far away on the straight to make a move, but let's see if we can have a battle between those two very soon. Giroud Visser, I must say, has done a very good job to close a 2-second gap down towards 4:10. So yeah, he's done a fantastic job, pulled up the absolute pace, and he's right behind Nathan. So hopefully we can see a battle between those two, as Ferg is yet again right behind Rocco, but he can't quite make a move. But more importantly, Giroud and Nathan, can he get a good exit cut out of turn 4? Use that DRS. Looks like Nathan got a better exit with Giroud, uphill and dirty air, and yeah, not nowhere near enough to make a move. But QVR Campbell right behind Larkin, out breaks him into turn 5. Here we go, QVR Campbell, but Larkin sticks it on the outside. Let's see who gets a better exit. Bit of wheel spin there for QVR Campbell, and Larkin with the outside line, better traction, gets ahead and maintains P10. So yeah, QVR Campbell tried it on the brakes, but Larkin was able to take that outside line, get a better exit and remain in P10. But good battle between those two again, wheel to wheel, and respect enough racing room there, and Larkin was able to reclaim that position as Ferg continues to hound Rocco and Giroud on Nathan.
Yeah, and you got to hand it to QVR Campbell for attempting the overtake there at the very least. I mean, definitely had the shot, just didn't quite work out for him in the end with the traction Larkin had. But you just feel like as if that battle's nowhere close to being done. I feel it's only a matter of time before QVR Campbell tries it again here. I think he's got the confidence in the car. He's got the confidence on those slightly fresher tires, given that he did go a little bit longer. You just got to get the overtake done. But once again, going into turn one, we are seeing Ferg right up close to Rocco. Jerome right behind Nathan. Let's see if this time around it's going to be any different. I don't think so. As Nathan just really seems to be nailing the exit of turn 4. A lot closer behind them, though, with you can see Ferg right up on the back of Rocco in the braking zone, but just not enough to be able to try and overtake. Meanwhile, with the two McLarens, they switch positions. Nolan on the softs gets ahead of his teammate as he's going to try to chase down Isaac Kush next in the Mercedes. See if he can use those soft tires a little bit to his advantage before they start to fall off a little bit.
Yeah, good exit, good out of turn 5 for Nolan, and Walter just pulled aside and let him through. He knew he was the faster McLaren, knew it was a different strategy. There's no point holding him up and wasting his soft compound tyres. But Coxey then and Ben JS have pitted then from meters to soft, so let's see where they rejoin. But Nolan then, he'll be struggling because these guys ahead are in one big DRS train. If he's just sat there throughout the whole of it, then that's his strategy wasted because he hasn't made any progress being on those softs, and yeah, they will wear towards the end. But let's see where Coxey and Ben JS will rejoin. They come out of the pit lane right now, and they will rejoin in P14. Mark will get ahead of him, and on the soft compound tyres, and following behind was rotation. He's also on the soft compound tyres. Coxey is on the hards, so 13 laps to go. He's on the hard compound tyres, and yeah, might have to think about that strategy because the softs could definitely make it towards the end. If we slow on these hards, he's got to watch out for rotation, as his main rival, Ben JS, will start to pull away from him being on those soft compound tyres. There's 13 laps to go as well, so we've got to watch out for rotation, who's on a much better tyre. 2 steps forward, the soft compound tyres towards the hards, and the hards take longer to warm up as well, so Coxey will definitely be under pressure from rotation then.
Yeah, and you can't help but think for Coxey that was possibly a little bit of a team miscommunication there, getting the wrong tires out. You got to think he was hoping for the soft tires, but they put on a set of hard tires. But we'll see probably at the end of this lap if he does warrant taking another pit stop, or if he's just going to stick with it either way and hope for the best. Meanwhile, you can see Nolan getting ahead of Isaac Kush, so starting to get a little bit of a move on now as he's trying to close down on Luke. He does find himself in a top 10 position with those first round of medium tire pit stops, but Dan, who's leading the race on 20 lap old mediums, and I guess that's it for Coxey. I do think there was a bit of a miscommunication on the pit wall, and Coxey had enough. Probably gonna go have a long talk with the pit crew there about the red tires, not the white tires.
Yeah, so we all know it's a mistake. It can happen sometimes, even if you select the soft compound tyres, it will probably put on the different tyres. That's the most frustrating part. It can ruin somebody's race. It's not the first time or the last time it will happen. But look at all this then. Nathan has brought along, or Jeroen has brought along a lot of cars. It's a DRS train, as we saw in the first Exo Rocco in a net P3 there. So yeah, it looks like these guys are caught up, and the one big DRS train is going to make it even harder for Nolan down in P10, because a big DRS train for him is not what he wanted. He gets a bad exit coming out of turn number 13. He wanted to make his way through the field, but he's ended up being shot behind it. He's made his way through 2 cars. One was easy, and the other one was Isa Kush, who was struggling on his tyres anyway, but they're all behind each other. Jeroen might have to think about getting past soon, because if he stays behind Nathan too long, Rocco might put an attack on him, and that's when Jeroen will definitely have to think about doing an overtake on Nathan ahead. So let's see then what happens. They're all bunched right behind each other. Got to be careful not to hit the back of each other, and also losing traction throughout traction, so such as turn number 4 is one uphill section. Very easy to lose the car. You can be very careful, especially the dirty air. But anybody close enough down at turn 4 to have a good down the turn 5 have a lunge? Nope. All bunched up behind together. You can see QVR pushing Larkin through the corner there. But yeah, it's just one big DRS train. And I dare say Ben JS will be following along soon on those soft compound tyres. But nothing doing so far. 2 drivers haven't pitted yet, which is Dan Neising and Jamie Ward in P2. Jamie Ward going for a very long stint on the hard compound tyres. A safety car will definitely do favours here with 11 laps to go in this race. No virtuals, no safety cars yet. We've still got 11 laps to go. Yeah, chance for a safety car, I don't think it's too high around here because there's so many runoff areas. I think safety cars are most common when people crash at turn 5 when they lose traction at the exit of turn 4 and hit the wall. But yeah, not much of a chance for a safety car around here as they all make their way onto lap 23 with them, with Dan leading Jamie by 6.4 seconds. Those mediums stood in good shape for Dan Neising, who crashed in qualifying and blamed Isak Kush. We didn't see what happened, of course, but that's what he says. Jamie won in P2 on the hard compound tyres, running along nicely in P2, not under pressure from anybody. And I thought Nathan will be closing the pace towards Jamie 1 a little bit there on his fresher medium compound tyres, but it's 6.2 at the moment. There's got a lot of things to worry about behind.
Yeah, and I think that might be why he hasn't been able to close as much as he'd like with all that pressure from the train of cars that's behind him. I think there's maybe a little bit more focus on that, but it looks like, as I was mentioning, that Luke and Nolan exchange positions here as they were just alongside. Nolan trying to make a move on, switches back to the inside, and oh no, it looked like they made contact there, wheel to wheel, and unfortunately for Nolan, goes for a spin, and he's falling down the order in 14th now. Not what he was hoping for there, especially with that strategy to try to work his way up the field. You gotta hand it to him for trying to get an overtake done, but just didn't quite work out there, as I think a mix of just contact with the other driver there, that wheel-to-wheel action, as well as just, I'll say, the nature of the corner and how uneasy it can be with the car just in on a good day. I think that might have played a part in the spin there from Nolan.
That's a shame. I was on board with it. Nolan just tried to go down the inside, but like you said, the nature of that corner, it's just so tight and it's uphill as Nolan's retired in the pit lane. Sadly for him, couldn't quite make the strategy work. If I was him, I would have gone for the same move as well. There's no point being stuck behind these guys with a different strategy. But look at Giroux's ERS. He's managed to save up quite a lot and start putting a lot of pressure on Nathan ahead, who himself is very low on the ERS. So Giroux visited, stayed behind Nathan and saved on that battery store, ready to go for it later on in this race. But sadly for him, he does have a penalty and there's a lot of cars behind, so he has to think about pulling a 3-second gap if he wants to get a good result, because before down a lot of cars. Bear in mind though, a few cars behind him do have penalties, such as Ferg, Campbell, Luke and Isak Kush as well down there in P11, so it won't be too bad. But yeah, it's so frustrating picking up a penalty, especially when you're in a race with a situation down there in a net P2. We've still got Jamie 1 and Dan Neising yet to pit. In fact, Dan Neising's gap towards Jamie 1 is very good indeed, as Dan Neising does pit onto the soft compound tyres. Let's see where he does rejoin. His pace on his medium has been fantastic because he's able to keep that same gap, 6.5 seconds towards Jamie, as Jamie does take the lead of this race. We'll see where Dan rejoins then, as he will be the fastest man on the track with those soft compound tyres. We'll just see if he does storm through the field, and he might rejoin behind Ben JS on Mark, and I think he does do. Yep, Ben JS goes through and Mark goes through as well, so Dan Neising rejoins down there in P13, and let's see what he can do on his soft compound tyres. And Giroux visitor coming out of turn number 4, just doing the same thing he's been doing over and over again ever since he's caught up to Nathan, just saving that battery store ready to go, attacking him later on when he's defenceless and vulnerable with no EOS. It'll be a sitting duck down the straight.
Yep, and I think he's also maybe planning a little bit here how he wants to approach this. I mean, it's lap 25 out of 33, less than 10 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. Everybody's close together. It almost seems like you really have to pick and choose your times, but watch out here, as XL Rocco was about a tenth of a second behind, and almost looked like he had a run, and half considered going for an overtake on Jerome, see if he can catch him napping. Just unable to get that done. Not an easy spot to make an overtake either. But just now can't get that same type of traction that we were seeing from the front two, at least initially, as they're heading down the start-finish straight. this whole the train of DRS isn't quite helping, as it really does rely on the just pure pace. But look at this, Cuvier Campbell making an overtake into turn 1, broke a little bit earlier there, it seemed. Now side by side there with Ferg, as they're battling it out going up the hill in turn 4, and it looked like that was Ferg, I think, that kissed the curb a little bit there on the inside.
Yeah, in the wrong position, the wrong time, but Walter goes down the inside of Luke. I think he taps the back of Ferg, and Luke's able to swoop around the outside with a better exit as well to carry the speed going into a cute angle, but they're still side by side as they make their way to turn 7. But he's spun, Luke has spun, but he's actually saved the car with the ABS braking. What a save there from Luke. That would be definitely one to clip for the Discord server. But yeah, I thought he was spun, but he thankfully saved the car thanks to his amazing braking skills. But yeah, Wild, I don't think it was anybody's fault. It's just the nature of that corner and the way they went in there. He just clipped the rear of Walter's right rear tyre and sadly ended up in a half spin, but managed to save it. Still in P10, of course, and he's got VGS right behind him, but he's on the soft compound tyres, so he'll be under pressure from him. But Jamie Ward going along at a very nice pace. The gap's not been dramatically closing down. It's been going down by a tenth or two every single lap. So Jamie Ward's got some good pace on those hard compound tyres. And the best scenario for him, as Luke goes down into P12, he's going to the pit lane actually, does Luke. I don't know why. He's on 12 lap old tyres. It should be okay, unless he's made a mistake somewhere or hit the back of somebody. But I think he doesn't want to be on those mediums anymore. He's the one that spun, wasn't he? So he'll probably go on the soft compound tyres, get rid of those mediums. Probably some damage as well with the rear of Walter's car, making contact with his front wing. But yeah, Jamie won 6.1 seconds. The gap hasn't been going down dramatically. It's been about 1 or 2 turns. As QVR Campbell does outbrake himself, but he remains in P5 with the outside line to get a much better exit and stays ahead of Larkin and Ferg. But yeah, what a battle between these guys. These guys in about P4, P5, P6 must be frustrated being stuck in that DRS train. Can't do anything about it, of course. The only thing you can do about it is the cars ahead overtake or make a mistake. But yeah, just absolutely nothing. As Giroud Vizza, I dare say, has the main control of what he could do in this race. He's the main character and he controls the storyline of this race.
Yep, and I think he's well aware of that too. Just like I was saying a couple laps ago, he's sitting in P2. I think he's just planning out his opportunities here, especially with those behind just stuck in this DRS train, really nowhere to go, getting DRS on the driver that has DRS. But I mean, you got to hand it to Campbell in a situation like that. He's well aware that trying to overtake just down the straight with DRS alone isn't going to quite work out. So he nailed his exit, essentially caught him napping, going a little bit deep. I think he got a little early on the brakes as well, just so he can then carry a little bit more speed in the inside line of turn 1, and was able to make that overtake work. So I do think approaching the end of the race like we are here, we might see a little bit more of that, of drivers maybe just trying, I wouldn't say being aggressive, but I guess being aggressive, but just trying a different overtake, trying a different move here, maybe the likes of which we saw, like a bit of an early break to carry more speed through the apex of the corner and just try to create an opportunity for an overtake rather than just hope that it comes to you, like what we might have been seeing some other races, and when we're not stuck in this 5, 6, 7, 8 car plus DRS train that we're seeing right now.
Nathan, he must be a little bit frustrated, but QVR Campbell has gone off the track. I think he overstayed off the track in turn 14 and has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty to add to his woes in this race. But I think Nathan knows Giroud Vizza has a 3-second time penalty. He knows he's sitting back for DRS and DRS, so I think his main focus then is not to get a penalty, because if he does get a penalty, he'll be level pegging with Giroud. It's just a straight fight for P1. If Rocco doesn't get a penalty, he'll be looking good in a net P3 when Jamie Ward does pit finally in lap 29 of 33, 4 laps to go, so probably pit at the end of the lap 32. I'll probably go for the fastest lap. Will Jamie Ward with the freshest soft compound tyres out of all of them. But yeah, Giroud Vizza all over the back of Nathan, but you know what his plan is. It's just the last lap move for Giroud Vizza. He's got a healthy amount of EOS that he can use on the whole of the last lap to get past Nathan, and Luke sets the fastest lap with a 70.1, beats Lewis Hamilton's record of an 18.7 in a 2020 lap record here around Portimao. And you can see there Giroud taking different lines as well, trying to get past Nathan. BenJS is caught up to the DRS trade, 1.3 seconds, but following Mark as well. Sadly for Mark, hasn't had the best of races ever since that spin. What could he have done if he was there right along with his teammate as well? Hasn't picked up a penalty as Mark in this race. You can see behind, the soft runner of Dan Nysink is closing up behind Mark as well, so go watch out for him. He'll be very, very rapid on the soft compound tyres. As we head onto the straight, let's yet again for lap 30. Is this where Giroud decides? Yes, he is. He's committed to lap 30 of this race, and now it's Nathan's turn to finally try and save some ERS because he's on 0% down that straight. Absolutely no ERS whatsoever, but yeah, will Giroud visit then? Use that ERS advantage because he knows Nathan is very, very low. Will he try and use that to try and get himself out of 1 second range, which he is using on this exit? But Nathan will have DRS to try and keep himself with Giroud's DRS as well. So let's see if Giroud can pull a gap, and let's see if Nathan can save up that battery store ready for the next upcoming few laps.
Yeah, it's all going to rely a lot here, I think, on this sector. Can Jeroen Visser get the? I mean, can he nail these next couple corners here relative to Nathan to create a bit of a gap? It looks like he's doing a good job so far. About 0.7 of a second ahead now, 0.8. Can he find a way to get just enough ahead with that clean air to break that DRS? Opportunity. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough though, but it's going to be close. 0.8 of a second, no. So Nathan is still going to have DRS here as they're approaching to start lap 31 out of 33. Jamie 1 is leading this Grand Prix, although he is going to have to take a pit stop, but still already taking those hard tires 30 laps. I mean, just fantastic for him. QVR Campbell, meanwhile, just up in the shadows a little bit, overtaking XL Rocco into turn 1 as he goes up into P4, as he finds himself now the driver behind Nathan. What's that?
Yeah. Look at Nathan go back down the inside of Giroud Visser, got a really good exit. Giroud Visser used all of his ERS, the 1 lap allowance that he could use in 1 lap, and he used all of it, and yeah, it wasn't effective as he's low on ERS yet again. Is Giroud as he tries to pull a 1 second gap on Nathan, but crucially as well, I think QVR will love the battle between Nathan and Giroud because he got himself back in DRS range. He was 1.2 seconds behind, but with those two battling, he's now 5.10, so he can save some. His comments list has retired in the pit lane, so no safety car or virtual. It's too late anyways for a safety car virtual to come out, so it's just, let's see then who will win this race. It wouldn't be Nathan or Giroud. Most likely Nathan with no penalties, but Rocco could find himself on the podium if he doesn't pick up a penalty because the two ahead of him do have a 3 second time penalty, Giroud and QVR Campbell. Jamie 1 then finally pits then on lap 31, and he'll be on course to set the fastest lap of the race with the soft compound tyres, and BenJS is right behind Isa Kush. He's also the soft compound tyres, 11 lap hold as Giroud closes in on Nathan in turn 1. QVR Campbell is there as well. J1 then will probably he rejoins down there in P12, but a brand new set of softs, doing a very good long stint. If there wasn't the rule of a tyre change, he would definitely go from hards all the way to the end and possibly win the race from that, but yeah, on the straight again, the second straight, nobody's close enough to make a move. BenJS is right there, P9 on the soft compound tyres, but not close enough to make a move down the inside on Isa Kush. Yeah, both of them are alone now, the Relentless Nathan and Relentless Giroud. Both of them, Giroud and QVR Campbell do have penalties, so XL Rocco and XL Larkin, they both had bad races back in Saudi Arabia, but can find themselves on the podium if they don't pick up a 3 second time penalty. Nathan, big job for him is not to pick up a 3 second time penalty, because if he's under too much pressure, might go a little bit wide and possibly pick himself up that penalty. So it's crucial for him in this race not to pick up a penalty because he's got the edge over Giroud and QVR Campbell in terms of no penalties. So keep it nice and clean and consistent, and try not to push too hard, knowing those two guys behind have got penalties.
Yep, we'll see how it all plays out. They're rounding the final corner now. You can see Nathan trying to break the toe for Jeroen as we're starting the final lap of the Grand Prix. Nathan leading, Jeroen behind in second. Is going for an overtake though, or they're side by side there on the outside. They touch tires there going through turns 2. through turn 3 now. It is Nathan still leading, and it looks like he does get the traction here. Are we going to see maybe Jerome go for it here down the inside, late on the braking, down the inside line he goes, but there he goes deep into the corner, so that allows Nathan to switch right back. I thought QVR Campbell might have had an opportunity to go to get a run himself, but not quite the case there as he's stuck behind. But Nathan still, after all that battling, still finds a way to come out P1. About a half a lap to go now here, and you can see the desperation on Jerome, or in the way he's driving, I think, trying to force Nathan into an error, trying to buy his opportunity for an overtake here. Oh my goodness!
QVR Campbell.
And QVR Campbell, I did not see that at all.
Larkin! That's pivotal for Larkin because he's just got out wide. He's lost a load of positions. He could have found himself on the podium. I'm not quite sure if he made contact with the back of QVR Campbell or Javuviza, but he's lost his podium chance and something else has gone on. But Nathan then will win the Portimao Grand Prix with QVR P2. Exo Rocco takes P2, and Exo Larkin is on the podium despite making contact with somebody in that last sector, dropping down positions. Ben JS from P10 to P4. He was P9 in the last lap. He's got himself a P4. Mark as well in P5, benefited from penalties. But yeah, QVR Campbell though tried it, sent it down the inside on Giroud in turn 13. They both went out wide. And I believe Larkin was there as well. That made contact with one of them. He almost got sent to spin himself, lost positions, and I thought some guys were ahead of him, didn't pick up penalties, but it turns out they did. And Larkin stays in P3 then, so almost lost the podium did Larkin, but the guys ahead did have penalties. But what a race that was towards the end. Yellow flags in that last sector as well, not quite sure who. I think Walter dropped down as well at the end of that last sector. Did see McLaren tumble down the order in that remaining few corners of that last lap. But what a race from Relentless Nathan then. Had it under control with no penalties. Was under pressure from Giroud, but managed it well and picked up no penalties in that race as well. So good job from Nathan. Exo Rocco and Exo Larkin had a bad race back in Saudi Arabia and recovers beautifully in P2 with Ben JS in P4 as well. Mark, after that spin, finishes P5, whilst in P6, and a lot of penalties from P7 downwards, except Jamie Bond in P12. Sadly for Jamie, he did not pick up the fastest lap of the race. That belonged to Luke, who did pit later after he made contact with Walter, went on to a brand new set of softs and took the fastest lap away.
Yeah, I mean, that was
it was close though. Look at Jamie Bond and Luke's fastest lap.
Here, let's take a look here. So there's 17.139 to a 17.107. Close indeed, but Luke just inched that fastest lap out at the end of the session. I mean, honestly, that was a crazy last, I'll say a crazy last lap, but really crazy last half of the last lap there. I thought it was going to be Jerome that was going to go for a little bit of a desperation move, but right as I was thinking about it at the corner, QVR Campbell tries for the overtake down the inside. They both go wide, and then after that, I think I'll say the floodgates were open, and everybody was just jostling for positions there. Whether it was just avoiding action from the slower drivers that were involved there, or just trying an overtake on their own. But my goodness, that was a crazy end to the race, and honestly, not one I was expecting there. With the train we saw for so long.
I bet some people are absolutely frustrated in that train. They just couldn't overtake. It's just so hard to overtake. No one has an advantage because you all carry the same speed, essentially, and having that DRS. So must be absolutely frustrating. That's why it's so crucial in strategy as well, and in qualifying as well. Even though it's a track you can overtake at, qualifying is really important, gaining that track position and staying ahead, and being in second or third place and waiting for those opportunities to try to overtake your rival. But good race from Javuviza, saved that ERS and tried for it. Did outbreak himself in turn 5, sorry. And yeah, then you had QVR Campbell just sent it down the inside. I was like, I've been behind everybody throughout the whole race, might as well go for it, try something different. And sadly, ended in contact with XL Larkin there, who could have got an easy podium with no penalties, but he almost threw it away, but managed to make himself back in the podium. So good job to Larkin and XL Rocco for gaining those podiums.
Yep, definitely good job to them. They did a good job making it work for them. In the showroom now, let's see if we can get the post race interviews there. I just need to find the gamer tags there to just see if they're already into the lobby. So here we go. I've got them. here. So apologies for the blue screen, ladies and gentlemen, as I just quickly try to get the drivers in, see if we can get a little bit of reaction there after that Portuguese Grand Prix. I'll just try to get the invite sent off here. There we go. Added the drivers I could add. XL Rocco, already a podium winner, so already had the invite to the exclusive post race interview club, if we can call it that even. But man, that was a good race there here around Portimao, and honestly a great way to cap off the exciting weekend of racing that we had here so far. Now, just as we're waiting to see if drivers are going to show up here, oh, it looks like they're already all in. I didn't get the notifications that they joined in, but everybody's already in. So here, I'll hold that thought. And here, who do we want to start with? Do you want to go third to first or first to third?
Third to first, if you want.
We'll do third to first. All right. So I think XL Larkin will start with you from that Ferrari. Can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Let's get that Ferrari on the screen. So, a good race from you all in all. Qualified in 9th, but ended the race in 3rd with everything happened in between. Just give us your thoughts, first and foremost. What were your thoughts here after that Portuguese Grand Prix?
I mean, I'm not going to turn down a podium, am I? It was a bit of a weird race. Nathan obviously wasn't pushing too much at the front, which made life for a slow boy like myself quite a bit easier, so I could just stick in the train. I noticed pretty early on that quite a few guys around me were picking up penalties, so I figured I'd just try and hold fort, stay where I am, not pick up a penalty, and then see how many positions I could gain at the end.
Yeah, I mean that really worked out for you there in the end, as we saw. Really kind of jumped up the order there with that clean drive. Were you sitting on any warnings at all, or was it just a clean race through and through for you?
I think I picked up one warning in the first couple of laps when it was all a little bit chaotic, but then after that it was fairly simple.
There we go. All right, Jamie, anything to add to that at all?
Oh yeah, that final lap, the final few corners. What happened there, mate?
I had the stream on. I could hear you guys talking about me making contact with someone, but I didn't. I just lost it on the corner by myself. Half spun off into the grass, shit myself a little bit, and desperately came flying back through with little ERS trying to hold on. Very lucky that I did. Very lucky that I didn't end up in the wall. It was a bit of a mistake.
When you made that mistake in those final few corners, did you think you lost the podium?
Yes. I didn't know, because obviously you can see the couple of people behind you, you can see that they've got pens, but I knew as well that more people were getting past me than that. I knew Wouter got past me, but he ran out of fuel. Anything could happen. Ben JS was within a tenth of me, I think, at the end. It was manic.
Congratulations on your podium, though. Is it your first podium of the season?
Yes, I think so. I think I was 4th last week, again with a crazy gain on penalties at the end. So I think it might be my first one, yeah.
Do you usually expect the podium all this weekend?
Oh no, not at all. I don't think many people do too much practice, so it's all sort of turn up on the day and see how it's going. It's a fairly decent pad track, which works for me with pad and ABS, so I knew I could do all right, but I don't know, it was just a bit of a weird one, and that's why I'm here now.
As a pad user, I love this track as well. Yeah, congratulations on P3 there, mate. Fantastic result. You played fantastic in the race.
congratulations to Larkin on P3. Solid drive from you, and that strategy of keeping it clean definitely working out well for you. So we'll move on now. Next up, P2 in the Haas, XL Rocco, and Rocco, can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so I think I mean similar story there from yourself and Larkin. Eighth on the grid, jumped up to second. I think the two of you were actually fairly close on track for a better part of that there. But jumped up to P2, solid haul of points. Firstly, talk us through that race. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh, I was just loving life. I hate qualifying. So I thought that was one of my best laps, and I was P8. So I prefer to do the alt strat normally, but I don't mind when Nathan's going that fast. I can keep the pace. So that helped me quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean that worked out for you. Now, were you getting frustrated at all, stuck in that DRS train, or were you just kind of happy that you were stuck in there with? I mean, since you had nowhere to go, everybody else had nowhere to go, so just hold position. What were your thoughts there with that?
DRS trains is what I live for. They carry me every week. Because I don't have the outright pace. I stay in people's DRS, keep penalties down, hope for mistakes, hope for penalties. That's all I can do. Safety cars or whatever. But yeah, I'm not the fastest, but we try to be most consistent.
There you go. I mean, definitely got that working for you. Jamie, anything to add at all?
Were you expecting a podium at all on the XR Rocco?
Well, I did like one session before, and I was decent. So I thought I'd do all right, but no, not a podium. There's a lot of fast people in there.
Congratulations on the podium. How close to a penalty? How many warnings did you get?
Oh, I only had one early on trying to drop Larkin. Went a bit too fast, and then I was like, yeah, just calm down, and got none the rest of the race.
Yeah, congratulations, mate, on P2. You did a fantastic job this race.
Cheers. Thank you for commentating.
So good.
All right, congratulations, and last but not least, we have Nathan. Now, I guess Nathan, can you hear us at all?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's get the AlphaTauri on the screen here. So I'll say a quote unquote dominant performance from you. I mean P1 in qualifying, practically untouched in that qualifying session with the laps you set. Essentially leading the race for a better part of it, or being that I guess that lead car, but got a little close there for you with battles from Mark, Jerome. Talk us through it though, first and foremost. What were your thoughts here on that race?
Yeah, obviously, going into it, I've had to buy a new controller, so it's been a bit of a learning curve this week because the controller to controller feels quite weird. There's just not really a lot of feeling, so I was quite happy to actually do a 0.7 at what is probably one of my best tracks. And then yeah, going into the race, obviously just good start off the line, and then it was just a case of just keeping it just controlled and like on the track. Obviously, I mean for most of the race I had one of the Red Bulls behind me, and luckily they just didn't push, so I was like, as soon as I saw people picking up pens, it was a case of just like not even try and push anywhere near as possible. I was probably pushing at like 50% most of the race, just because also with how like the game works, you just can't really pass on the DRS train unless the top two, as long as you're P1, P2, you're guaranteed pretty much to finish in the top two. And when the person in P2 also has a pen, it's like you basically just have a buffer. And like as soon as Lewis, obviously, Campbell got through on Rocket, it was even more like of a guarantee. So yeah, it was just a case of really just kind of sit about 4-5 times ahead of your own, just to have that buffer into turn one.
So, I mean, given you're mentioning that, and I mean, from what I took out, rolling at I think the words you use, 50 to 60% of your pace. I do have to ask, um, were you worried at any point that this wasn't in the bag on a track that, honestly, early predictions were predicting you to be 20 seconds ahead, lapping the field? You know, like, were you worried at all, or did you just feel like you had this under control right from the get-go?
Obviously before no, because of like changing equipment. But as soon as like people started picking up pens, it just became like more of a control, like just to control it. There was only one. It was when you were in past, and then like push really hard. That lap was kind of because obviously before it was kind of like like actually need to like snap back into it and just like make sure your own actually doesn't drop DRS. I think it was like 8.5 tenths when we got to detection point. And then obviously that next lap just like caught straight back up and then passed them again. But yeah, it was just kind of controlled throughout, which is obviously you always love a race like that, really.
Oh yeah. And Jamie, anything to add at all?
When Giroud Visa made that move on lap 30, he had a lot of EOS to spare, and he used all of it on that one lap. Was you ever worried that that the amount of EOS he had, you would drop out of DRS rage?
Yeah, because it was kind of weird. Because I have like certain ERS techniques that I don't think a lot of people do or know about.
Can you tell me in private?
Maybe. But like it's something that always means that my ERS never really depletes, apart from tracks that you can't ever save. So like here, I was literally doing it everywhere, and then I was even without using, I was using like 5% a lap. And I know my wings aren't even as high as like everyone else, but when you're leading, obviously it's harder to save your ass being the car behind. Like even when you're going like a lot slower. So yeah, it was. As soon as he got past, I was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting because I obviously wouldn't know how much ERS he had. But as soon as he started to pull away that much in sector 2, I was like, yeah, this is gonna just need to like nail sector 3, which he did. But yeah, it was just that lap there. It was a bit on the edge, but apart from that, just a nice race.
Quality lap was amazing, and your race was amazing as well. So congratulations on winning the race, Nathan. No penalties either. You had 2 warnings as I checked the race director. Were you ever nervous about getting a penalty?
Yes, definitely. Because I'm quite notorious. Well, I've got better this game, but yeah, it's always been in my DNA to pick up a stupid penalty, which I somehow picked up both warnings in the same sector. So yeah, that was kind of a wake-up call to just kind of keep. That was also another reason to just keep it like a bit more like laid back and not push as hard.
Congratulations on the win, mate. Fantastic race from you, Nathan.
Cheers, thank you both for comms.
You're welcome, mate.
No problem. Well, congratulations, and congratulations to all of you on the podium. But I think that's probably just about going to do it here for the stream, ladies and gentlemen. After those thoughts from the drivers. So yeah, that was the Portuguese Grand Prix. That was round 9, a very exciting race, especially near the end. I was happy to take you through it with Jamie, of course. And before we round things out, Jamie, any final words?
Very nice to commentate with you. I hope you all enjoyed the Australian Grand Prix earlier this morning, or wherever you are in the world. I know I think it was still a Saturday for you guys back in Canada and USA, or close to midnight. Eric?
Yep, 1 a.m. was the race there for us, so...
Yeah, hope you all enjoyed the Australian Grand Prix, and I hope you all enjoyed the Portuguese Grand Prix we just presented to you, and hopefully you all enjoy your night as well. Have a good night, and have a good next week as well. See you all next Sunday, the same place at 8 p.m.
Yep. Well, actually, a little bit of a correction on that. We're actually on a break week next week, given it's Easter weekend. So, time to see the family, eat food, all that wonderful stuff. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But fret not, we're gonna have a great one for you all as we take to Silverstone. It's gonna be the British Grand Prix there for round 10 in 2 weeks' time, so you're not gonna want to miss that one. But until then, on behalf of Jamie, myself, and everybody here at ISRL Esports, I want to say thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a fantastic evening.